Good morning, A3. Mr. Brown here. Hope everyone's doing well. I want to jump right into today's lesson, which will take 2 days to complete, or we can take 2 days to complete it. And we are going to be starting our novel Night. Okay, our memoir by Elie Wiesel called Night, about his experiences in a concentration camp. This week, you finished an acceptance speech that he had given and answered questions on it as a nice introduction. And now we'll get right into his novel. So as you can see here, I am in our 8.3 remote learning assignments. And at the top of the page in our stream, I have just a quick summary of Night by Elie Wiesel, and I'm going to read that to you now. Okay, Night by Elie Wiesel, summary chapter 1. Okay, Eliezer Wiesel, Elie for short, grew up in a small town called Siget, a small town in Transylvania in Eastern Europe. He is a strict Orthodox Jew, so he's Jewish, and he's tutored by a man called Moshe the Beadle. A beadle is an official in the Jewish religion, someone high up in the religion. When all foreign Jews are expelled, Moshe is deported. Okay, so the beadle is deported away. But he returns to Siget, Elie's hometown, with terrible tales, horrific tales. But nobody believes him. So the Nazis have gained control of Hungary, and they allow the Nazis to come. The Jews of Siget remain in denial. They don't believe it, that anything bad's going to happen to them. Days later, the town is ordered to evacuate. Okay, it's time for everyone to leave because they're in danger. Elie's family is part of that last group. Okay, they have a servant called Martha, and she warns them of impending danger to come, and offers to help them, a place of safety, but they refuse it. Okay, this is essentially chapter 1, the opening of chapter 1. Elie in his hometown, the Nazis are threatening to come and take over the town, and everyone's in denial about what's actually happening. Okay, so let's get into today's work. All right, so if we go up to the top here, we can see our classwork. If we click on our classwork, I'll go to the top of the page, and just a reminder that at the top of the page I have our Night PDF in Spanish, and I have a Night novel in English, and that's at the top of the page. Just below that is today's work. It's called May 6th and 7th. Today is May 6th, and we have 2 assignments in there. Okay, the first one, which I'll go over later, is a writing assignment where you are going to listen to Alicia Keys, an Alicia Keys song, and you can click on the worksheet, and you've got a worksheet there where you will annotate and analyze the language and literary elements of the song. Okay, so annotation, make notes based on the song lyrics, identify literary elements like metaphors, similes, etc. Okay, that's going to be our writing assignment. Let's go back into our folder, May 6th and 7th, Night, and let's get right into chapter 1. Okay, so we've got 3 things in there. The first thing I have is 2 sets of questions. One is a Spanish version. There's our Spanish version there. And then we have an English version. And then the third thing is a YouTube video of chapter 1 reading. Okay, so you can read along with me. You can hear this here now. Okay, she begins chapter 1. Okay, so we've got the YouTube video. Now, if I click on the discussion questions, Night by Elie Wiesel, reading guided questions, directions. Answer each question in complete sentences. Be sure to provide text evidence. We did this with Scythe. We did this with Chew on This. You're just answering you're sort of restating the question and then using text evidence to help your question, to strengthen your question. Okay, so we've got chapter 1 here. Who is Moshe the Beadle, and what is his connection to Elie? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, where does Elie live, and how old is he at the start of the story? Number 3, how does Elie describe his father's characteristics, his traits? Number 4, who are Hilda, Bia, and Zipporah? Be specific in identifying them. Number 5, what makes Elie say the following? Okay, this is a quote from the book. The race toward death had begun. All right, page 10. Number 6, what are some signs that the Jews remain hopeful despite the bad news? Number 7, what is the first time Elie ever sees his father weep, his father cry? Number 8, who is Martha and what does she offer? What is the outcome? Of course, you might remember in the summary we mentioned Martha. Number 9, what are the Jews? Why are the Jews loaded in? What are the Jews loaded into in order to transport them away from their town? What is symbolic or significant about this? And then number 10, how many people are in each car? Very simple question with just um, a number answer, and of course you can even provide text evidence for that. Just a reminder that whenever you are doing questions like this, the questions are usually in order of how they happen in the book. Okay, so that's a good tip to have. All right, a good skill to have is to know that most likely whenever you're answering questions about a particular story, they're going to be in order as they happened. Okay, so these are our questions. We have those in Spanish as well, if someone wants to work in Spanish. All right, I'm not going to read that because it might not sound very good. Certainly not as good as you would read it. Okay, so that's our work. So we have uh, discussion questions in Spanish and English, and then a YouTube video to read along. Let's very importantly get into the book. So if we're still in classwork, our May 6th and 7th night 2 assignments. So right above that, let me get right into the book. Okay, this is very important. So I'll ask you to pay attention closely to this. Okay, so we've got the whole book here. Now, if I scroll down, forgive me, I might go fast here. We have, before we even get into the novel, we have a sort of preface to the translation. Okay, and if I keep going past the preface, which you do not have to read, and I keep going, then we have a foreword, okay? Just something at the beginning of a book where someone explains something about the book. So it's usually by another author. In this case, Francois Mauriac wrote a foreword about the book. This is before we actually get into the novel. So we're going to skip that too. Now, if we go into if we look down at the bottom of the page there, and it says page 26 of 146, that's about where the novel will begin. So if I scroll down here, let me get right to that page there. Okay, now, if you take a look, our first page is number 3, page 3 there. Okay, do you see that? Page 3. So our novel begins on page 3, and you are going to be reading until page 22, okay? Page 3 to 22 for chapter 1. If you read along with the audio, it'll stop at page 22. Let me just go up a little bit to 22. Again, I'm not following the PDF pages. I'm following the actual pages on the page. Okay, they're relatively short pages, so it's not as long a read as you think, and you can take a couple of days to do that as well. So if I go to page 22, okay, that will be the end of our chapter, page 22. Let me go back up to page 21. Excuse me, not page 3, page 3. 22 to page 3, which is our chapter 1. Let me go up there. Okay, and I highly recommend that you do what we just did, which is just take a look at the questions first, okay? Get to know the questions so that you'll know what you're looking for when you read, okay? So we've got the very beginning here. I'm back up at page 3. They called him Moishe the Beetle. Now, if I open up one more time, Classroom Google, I've opened up another page here. If I go back into our night discussion questions, and I open up my YouTube video and start my video, and then go back to my my PDF. My video starts. I'll try opening another page here. Okay. Okay, you can see she's following right along with chapter one there. Okay, you can see where she's following right along with the book there. And our opening is a very famous line. They called him Moshe the Beadle, as if in his entire life he had never had a surname. Okay, the Beadle, the Jewish, uh, the important person in the synagogue. And you might remember that if we go to our questions, back to our questions, I'm in sixth and seventh, and we go back to our questions. Our first question was, just loading up, who is Moishe the Beadle, and what is his connection to Elie? All right, so right away we've got our first question there. Okay, so I'll let you guys get to that. I highly recommend getting into this book. It's very riveting. It's a very important book, and it's read very widely in a lot of middle schools across the country and around the world. Um, uh, uh, he is a teenager, not much older than you, and his life changes by being in this concentration camp. So I'll let you read chapter one and answer those 10 questions, and you'll be in good shape. And then the writing portion, okay, is the Alicia Keys. So again, I'm in stream now. I've got a summary here, classwork. Oops. You've got, of course it does that now. Go back in. All right, so again, I'm in stream. Computer's being slow. Okay, I have the summary, classwork. I have the two books, Spanish and English, and just below that, May 6th and 7th, night. Our writing assignment, Alicia Keys, and our discussion questions and YouTube video for night to read along with. Okay? All right. As always, A3, reach out to me if you need any help. I'll be here. Okay? Thank you, guys.